sant yàlla.
looy xaar utal Wave nga scan nga fay nag doo ci yokku dara.
Country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jah Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
In the Gambia, we all move to different paces. Time is money, convenience is power, and now both are in your hands. No more long lines, no more late payments, no more missed chances, not anymore. Because now the Gambia has its own super app, Zap. One app, one tap, endless convenience. Send money instantly, pay your bills in seconds, shop without borders, pay your rides, order your meal, buy your ticket, deposit and withdraw money for absolutely free. No extra charges, no hidden fees, only on Zap Super App. This is not just convenience. This is confidence. This is the future in your hands. And the best part, Zap is born right here. Built for us, designed for every Gambian home, every Gambian dream. So don't wait in the past. Step into the future. Download Zap today on App Store and Play Store and enjoy endless free services. Call us today on our toll-free number 1666 or on 260-0001. Zap. All in one. All for you. Tap in. Zap in.
On Tuesday, the 30th of December 2025, you're with Coffee Time with Peter Gomez, live on FM across the country on 92.1 megahertz, across the world on www.wcr.gm. Thanks for joining us. It's the second last day of the year. And now on Coffee Time, we are joined by Mr. Halifa Sallah, the Secretary General of the People's Democratic Organization for Independence and Socialism, or DOI, and one of the most consistent voices for legality and discipline in Gambian politics. And fresh from a Congress that was adjourned after falling short of a quorum, Mr. Sallah joins us to explain why the party chose procedure over expediency, what this means for DOI's future leadership, and how he himself navigates the line between retirement and calls for his return to elective politics. Halifa, good to have you back with us on Coffee Time with Peter Gomez.
Thank you very much, Peter, for inviting me.
Very good, very good. And let's start with the Congress. There wasn't a quorum so that it could be brought to a close. We ended up with an adjournment. What happened there?
We called this Congress a Congress of thinkers, innovators, and builders of a party and nation. We see a link between building a nation and building a party. A party that is not what the purpose cannot build a nation. And the emphasis now, since 2023, had and has and is still to build the party to be fit for purpose. To do that, we spent much of 2023, 2024, early 2025 building instruments and building institutions. And one of the key things is constitutional review. We set up a constitutional review committee to look at the Constitution and come up with proposals and recommendations that will prepare the party to be the type of party that can govern a country. I believe those who followed the debate could see that as we commenced the review of the proposals for constitutional reform, the process really slowed down. The debate intensified, and I will just mention one aspect of the debate to see that when you hold a Congress, it's time bound. And if you are stuck with debates, and a debate that is fundamental for the existence of the party, because if we don't resolve these issues, clearly it means that we are not united as a party, because unanimity is necessary as you build constitution, because they will guide the fundamental activities of the party. A key thing was, for example, the creation of an expert bureau, expert bank. There were divergent views, and it took quite a lot of time to resolve and eventually approve. So that shows you how we were going to go. Is chapter by chapter will require a lot of debate and resolution. And ultimately, there was a proposal as time became an issue, late after 8, going to 10, that they should just appear to adopt the constitution as it were, with amendments, and then look at it later and then go into elections. That became an issue. And your question is vital. Should we approve something that people were not conversant with? Or should we allow them to thoroughly know what was in those documents before approval? And ultimately, some people left unbeknown to the Congress. And when it came to making a decision as to whether they should approve that constitution with amendments and then proceed to other items so that we could conclusively deal with matters, or not, a vote was necessary. And of course, if a vote is necessary, our Article 90 of our Constitution, the Article 90 of our Constitution states that you must have 2/3 to have a quorum. So we had to do a head count. The IEC was there. They were monitoring all the activities. They participated in the count. So eventually we saw that that quorum was not there, and therefore a decision had to be made. How do we proceed? They started the process of calling people who had left.
So you could have just called people.
Yeah, they were calling people, and they made a lot of effort.
You were short by how many? You needed 211. You got 194, wasn't it?
Well, we needed 180 to have a quorum, because the delegates were 240, and we needed 2/3, so they needed 180. Unfortunately, that was not, they had 130 something initially, so they started counting and calling people, and even accepted the procedure that they may join online. But as the dying hours really...
Was that accepted for people to...
Well, yes. They could join online, but unfortunately, the report from the Credential Committee was that they
so
could
technology
not...
was at play. There was some
It was at
people who were
play. It was at
participating
play.
online,
Yes, indeed.
not
Indeed.
physically,
Indeed.
Halifa, when you talk about building a party, especially a party like DOI, a party that has been around for nearly 40 years, possibly the longest running party uninterruptedly, in the history of this country, people like me would start wondering, building what? What's there still to build?
That's a very significant question. DOI went through many transitions, and I must say the most important one is the building of coalition. I know you know that DOI transformed into NAD, etc. Yeah. I stood as we became NAD National Assembly members.
That was not party turning.
Yes. That's what I'm emphasizing. That by virtue of the fact that in the Gambia, political parties suffered many challenges. First was the coup d'etat of 1994. That interrupted the whole process of DOI. In fact, most of our members went to join the coup makers at that time, because they felt that the revolution that DOI was talking about is here. So what are you waiting for?
Conflated, your ideology.
They felt that these people made a coup for us. These people couldn't govern society.
Interesting.
And when we were offered ministerial posts, it felt, well, here you are, intellectuals. These people are calling you. They don't know how to govern. Come and help us to govern, and you are rejecting this post. I must say that we were at a low level in the political evolution of our party at that time. You can say that it disintegrated. And added to that, they banned all the political parties. Still, some people feel that DOI was not banned. Can you imagine?
Well, I wasn't here, and the conversation was that they banned all other parties but DOI.
And what was the announcement? That all political parties are banned. And when it came to registration again in 1996, did DOI register? Of course, DOI had to go to register. If you don't register, you don't become a political party. So all political parties were banned because of the resilience of the leadership that preserved DOI. Because the leadership continued to engage the military so that we move into constitutional rule. So in brief, that you can see what happened to DOI at that moment. After that, you had two major coalitions, PPP, NCP, GPP, build up the UDP coalition, and of course APRC also took all the major high companies of most of these parties and built the APRC coalition. So you have a former ruling party combating a new ruling party, and they had to be in the middle to try to struggle to survive again, to build up again. Peter is building because you've lost your membership and now you have to get new membership to build again. And unlike other political parties, DOI emphasizes that it's a member-based party because it is the member that decides everything in DOI. DOI does not have committee of selections, etc. In the presidential election, all the members vote to get the presidential candidate. In a council election, the members in a particular ward will select the candidate. The same thing with the National Assembly election. So it's a member-based party, and if that member is not aware, then how will that person make an informed choice? So DOI requires the teaching of the member. So what because I must make this brief, we had to go, for example, after 2002, that's when the UDP coalition went into a crisis. I think you will remember that, and they had to boycott the elections of 2002. And DOI, I won my seat in your constituency.
In my constituency.
See, they won in Woolly. So we started to build up. But we went to US, all the political parties, and they charged us there to come back and build a coalition, and I was made a coordinator. Of course, I started leaving DOI behind and started building another coalition, which has nothing to do with party philosophy or ideas. It's to build a transitional government. Of course, DOI continued that because we realized that in the Gambia, no political party had ever brought about change through the ballot box. No opposition party. So people did not believe that opposition could change government. We thought that then the first thing was how to change a government to get the Gambian people to know that they are capable, power resides in them, they are capable of changing a government. And that's why we continue to build coalition. We remain in that until 2012. We continued to build a coalition. We built a coalition in 2011, and in 2012 is when we decided that we must start the process of rebuilding DOI in preparation for 2016. And that rebuilding really strengthened DOI to be a mighty force for 2016. But when we come up to 2016, you remember what happened to the UDP, its leadership incarcerated. We felt that the opposition will not have a chance in 2016 if we went separately into the elections. And I became a presidential candidate, and I was charged with the responsibility of building a coalition. And of course, my book, The Impasse, will show how I did it. And we did it, and we succeeded. So that shows you what DOI was. From the coalition, we thought we'll prepare a level ground in 3 years for all the political parties. And DOI will build up its membership and its institutions again, preparing for leadership. But of course, it did not happen that way. So we had to move from the coalition and then start the process of re-strategizing. That also created within DOI some concern, because we've not accepted ministerial posts, we were not in positions of ambassadors, etc. So of course you have some members who will feel that, well, what were we fighting for? So essentially we understood the dynamics, but the objective of DOI was not just to occupy positions. It is to transform the Gambia and end the poverty of our people. So my answer here is that starting from 2021, we saw the need to build back our membership. And how do you build them? We created structures all over the country where all regional branches, now we have 8 regional branches and 2 in the diaspora, and those branches will now build constituency structures, ward structures, or village structures, and then have activists in all those regions who will be empowered with ideas. That is training. That's what we call about party building, because they must know the constitution of the party. They must know the manifesto of the party. Here people just join party. You don't even know what a constitution is or what a manifesto is.
Okay.
So when they speak, they just speak based on their own common sense.
You made passing reference to your book. Hopefully we'll talk about it before the end of the conversation. But one word you used there is transformation. And the fact that in 1994 some of your members joined the military government because they saw it as the revolution that you had been fighting for, all those years. It was here, they could join. And then again, after the 2026 coalition won power, some people...
2016, yeah.
2016, sorry, 2016, not 2026. 2016. Yet, most of you stayed out. In transforming, is it not easier to get in and try to change from within than trying to change from outside?
Well, you must evaluate what happened to those who went in and what they are today.
What happened to them?
Well, obviously they are marginalized. They don't have parties anymore. Look at those parties that said that they are part of the coalition.
But it's not a rule that anybody who joins the government from DOI, exits the party.
No.
And then if things didn't go their way, come easily back.
Yes, well, that's what I'm trying to emphasize, that, joining a government, you must also accept collective responsibility. You cannot just join a government that way and then depart, etc. Whatever is wrong with that government, you have been a part of it.
Absolutely.
So, and look at those people who have joined the government. What have they gained in terms of political parties? What has NRP gained? What has NCP gained? What has GPDP gained? All these parties now, have been transformed into underlings of the NPP. So NPP is supreme to their coalition.
Is it because in certain areas, for instance, they cannot put up a candidate, it has to be an NPP candidate?
Well, NPP selects where to leave you to put up a candidate or not to put up a candidate. So it's not our business really. Ask DOI as to what other parties do. In fact, I should not have mentioned them, and I apologize for mentioning them. It's not fair. What is important is to concentrate on our party. Our party's trajectory is to change a country. And to change a country requires that you have to have principles. Those principles are embodied in our constitution as in our manifesto. We look at what we are to do for Gambia. Look at Gambia at this moment. You look at agriculture. Our principle is that what we own as a nation should go to serve all. We own power, we own wealth. That wealth should go to serve all. That's our principle. And to serve all, meaning what is in the national budget, must be allocated in such a way all will have their share. Not by distributing it, but by distributing it in a productive manner, moving from consumption-based welfare to production-based welfare. If you look at the government budget this year, the minister say for those people who are vulnerable groups, they've allocated 200 million. Divide 200 million with half the population who are living in absolute poverty, they will end up with $200.
So vulnerability is not physical inability or...
No, it's because they do not have the economic wherewithal. You look at the statistics, it's telling you 81% of the population that are productive are in the informal sector, not in the formal sector, not in industry, not in government. So people are just moving from hand to mouth. So that is the type of economy we have. We are saying that from the national resource, you could have given farmers farming implements, seed, fertilizer, they produce and put it back into a cooperative. We have Osusu. Cooperative is Osusu. And government is Osusu. It's all our money put in coffers. So how do you ensure that we also use it productively? I mean, the farmers, you give them their share to be productive and put it back into the coffers. Those in the informal sector to do the same. Those who want to processing, those who want to sell. So you must create a system that enables that to happen. And that's this, look at the councils and the villages and the wards. You go to the markets, they are paying. Garages, they are paying. Compounds are paying rates. So farmers are paying their animals, cattle, etc. So in short, a lot of payment is going into coffers. But which coffers? They'll go to councils and they never return to the wards, they never return to the village. So we are saying you needed a village treasury, a ward treasury, where whatever is paid in that ward will go into that treasury, and the village development committees, ward development committees will sit annually, look at their budget, and see how to allocate those resources into development into those areas. Therefore, you'll constantly have development from the capacity that the villages have, that the wards have, but not only that, we also have the national budget, which should be allocated in that way, which means that everything the villages, the wards could not do, then the information will go to the councils, they will sit down for their annual budget and know exactly what is needed. And that goes to the national government, and when it comes to allocation of resources, those projects will be taken into consideration. So in short, our whole developmental concept of ensuring that there is a balanced and proportionate development of society is fundamentally different from what the PPP had, what APRC had, and what NPP has. So we are not seeing in the same way, and therefore we cannot really be in the same boat.
Going back to the Congress, some are seeing it as a setback, but would you say the adjournment, is a failure, or rather the party's commitment to legality?
Party's commitment to legality, but more than that, party's commitment to its members, that the members must know they are very powerful. The members are powerful because they decide who is a presidential candidate. They decide who is a National Assembly candidate. They decide who is a council candidate. They decide what DOI would do when it is in government. They decide who among DOI will be put in government. That's a very powerful responsibility.
Yeah, but
I'm just coming to you.
Yeah.
I'm saying that is why we cannot just go elect and move.
But some people wanted the Congress to come to a finality by defying the quorum law and just going ahead.
Well, that's what I'm emphasizing. Therefore, we have to guide them that what kept DOI alive up till now is because of principles. Because that is the principle it has articulated and that it is going to really carry as a supreme conduct when it gets into office. And practice really teaches what you are going to do tomorrow. We had to take our stand and ensure that what is supposed to be done is done in a proper way. Peter?
Yes.
Our emphasis is that a party prepares a people for governance. It is a school of governance. That was in fact the argument with this expert bank. We emphasize, some disagreed with the creation of an expert bank. We emphasize that many parties come to government with a head of state who will start looking who to make what in the country as a minister.
Like we had in 2017.
So, and you end up having people who may not even have any commonality in how to run a country. We have emphasized that we need to build an expert bank so that you prepare a shadow cabinet. These experts will be there studying what each ministry is doing, and therefore become competent to be critical of what is happening and also to be able to come up with solutions and feed the party so that we'll continue to expand the capacity of our people, but also prepare a manifesto which is realistic and which is implementable. That is really where we are. We are now at a stage, that's why we're saying we are building the party. We are at a stage to build the instruments of the party, then build the institutions. Now we have many institutions. The political bureaus are there, bureaus for women affairs are there, youth bureau, and if you follow the constitutional reform process, we have a women's agenda, for example, where there must be gender parity in all institutions of the party. We have a policy that addresses the youth issue, that in any election, not less than 50% of the candidate must be less than 35 years. Oh. And in all our institutions also, you must have a male, female person who is differently able. So these are now, canonized in our resolutions, and the input goes into the Constitution. That is why I'm emphasizing that we are building a party fit for governance. Mm-hmm.
So the Congress is adjourned until when?
24th of January.
Okay, and how, do you plan to ensure that there is full participation, that when it comes to adopting the Constitution, you not only have a quorum, but, the active participation of everybody who is in the hall?
There is a task force responsible for coordination. They will go back to the drawing board to find out what happened, because a coordinator must ensure they are given money, everything is financed, there is no lapse in financing. So the coordinators will explain what happened, why those members who came actually did not stay or did not come. They will know why, and they will address that. Number two, there is also a political bureau which will be educating the members to know what a Congress is, what their powers are, and how what happened, and how to avert it. If we cannot address that, well, it's fit for DOI to die. For me, DOI must become serious to show that it has the capacity to lead a nation. If it does not show that it has capacity to lead a nation, then we're there to exist in the first place. So our Congress is, as I told the members, is the most decisive Congress of the party, because the party must come of age and come to the Gambian population to show that they are fit to govern the affairs of the country. And one good thing about it is that many people are coming in. Many thinkers are coming in. I was surprised at the number of people I saw, a number of people who are now becoming members of the party. It's very encouraging. I am inspired. I'm at the other side and seeing people emerging who can take charge and move forward. Side? Other side, as you have rightly said, I am deciding when to move into other domains. For example, in DOI, I don't have to be Secretary General now. Looking at all these documents that we have prepared, I prepared my departure. All these are instruments. I can read them. Resolution on the establishment of a robust information communication technology bureau at the DOI National Headquarters. Resolution to establish a DOI Constitutional Review Committee. On the 2025 Congress, that was discussed, resolution on the composition and operationalization of the bureaus. Resolution on the annual activity calendar of the DOI leadership. Resolution on the establishment and operation of DOI information organs and WhatsApp groups. Financial rules and code of conduct. Resolution on interim budget of DOI. Resolution establishing the DOI Sovereign Wealth Fund. implementation protocols, draft model rules for of procedure for the DOI branches, DOI Service Bureau rules and code of conduct for staff of the DOI Service Bureau. So everything is there in terms of instrument that those of us with capacity to build the party had produced. So now it's operationalization period. So therefore,
lots of resolutions.
yes.